Mont Ida, Kansas, and Washington Township of Anderson County might be long gone as a town now, with its post office shut down years back. Back in 1857, Dr. Enos J. Broomhall first staked his claim on that land, homesteading it, buying up property and building a stone house on what would soon be known as Mont Ida. By the 1870s, Broomhall put up a bigger two-story house beside the stone one, making room for his wife and 3 young ones. The place sat on a stretch of near-level high prairie, surrounded by fields that had long been farmed. Over in 1872, the Brethren Church got its start in Peter Strubel's home, with his brother Jesse Studebaker taking up the role of the first pastor. On October 11, 1879, a group came together to form a town company. Charter members included O.F. Garrison from St. Louis, Missouri, alongside W.A. Johnson, F.M. Shaw, E.S. Hunt, W.H. Conover, F.G. Barber from Garnett, and Dr. Enos J. Broomhall himself. The company set out to find a good spot in Anderson County for a railroad station on the new St. Louis, Kansas and Arizona Railroad line. Dr. Broomhall donated some of his land, and come 1880, the railroad had the site surveyed and the town laid out. The name Oneida was originally used to the area southwest of Garnett. In September of 1880, early settlers like J.D. Huffman, J.A. Stoner, and Frank Gray arrived to stake their claims, and a post office was set up on December 6th, with Frank Gray serving as the town's first postmaster. Since the railroad needed water for its steam engines, they built a dam along the grade, forming an 11-acre lake that folks called Crystal Lake. Water from the lake got pumped right up into a water tower to keep the trains running. Back in the early 1880s, Mont Ida was bustling with business. Alongside general trade, the town saw a good bit of profit from baling and shipping hay. Set on the Arizona division of the Missouri Pacific Railroad, Mont Ida boasted a depot with stockyards, a schoolhouse, a post office, and a blacksmith shop. On February 9, 1881, the name was changed from Oneida to Mont Ida in honor of the cousin Mont Louis and the eldest daughter Ida of Dr. Enos J. Broomhall. In the same year, S.B. Cooper was appointed as the depot agent and telegrapher at Mont Ida, which was converted into a telegraph station. Numerous companies emerged, such as the hardware and implement store owned by J.L. Lesh, the blacksmith shop owned by J.A. Stoner, and 3 hay press enterprises operated by the Graves brothers, John Campbell and William Parkinson. Dr. J.B. Jones moved his drugstore over from Central City and joined Dr. Broomhall in treating folks around town. With the population growing, a new schoolhouse, District Number 39, went up, with Maggie Moore stepping in as the first teacher. On December 1, 1881, Frank Gray erected the first general store in a stone structure, and the post office immediately moved inside it. Right around then, Reverend Mr. Huffman delivered the first sermon on town grounds in that same schoolhouse. A few years on, December 20, 1885, the new Methodist Episcopal Church was dedicated, with Reverend E.C. Boaz from Baldwin leading the service. By the 1890s, the railroad stretch east of Mont Ida got a bit of an overhaul. That old low-water bridge was replaced since trains had to climb a steep 3-mile grade to reach town. With a new trestle bridge crossing Cedar Creek, the track had a gentler grade and ran straighter into town. Greeley, Garnett, Mont Ida, and Westphalia were the 4 stations operated by Missouri Pacific in Anderson County in 1903. Back then, Mont Ida's station was bustling, handling about 30 trains a day and raking in close to $150,000 from the farm trade along the line. The depot sat right beside the stockyard, making it easy for farm goods to be shipped out across the region. In 1903, tragedy struck when a train crashed head-on with a freight train between Garnett and Mont Ida, claiming 11 lives. The foreman, a local from Garnett, was in charge. This incident came after Missouri Pacific Railroad began running passenger trains, giving folks a chance to travel from Mont Ida up to Garnett and even Topeka. Dr. C.B. Harris Sr. came over from Westphalia and served as Mont Ida's doctor from 1906 to 1910 before moving his practice to Garnett. His old office later housed the town's telephone company, with Lena Ratliff and Grace Reed managing the switchboard. By 1910, Mont Ida was known as one of Anderson County's lively little towns. That same year, the railroad dammed Cedar Creek, channeling water to its tower. Mont Ida's station on the Missouri Pacific Railroad was still active, with around 20 businesses, express and telegraph offices, a money order post office with a rural route, and a population of about 200. In 1911, J.W. Becker became the head of the newly established Mont Ida State Bank. His wife ran the bank after him until his passing in March of '33, after which she shuttered the place in November and headed to Garnett. Mont Ida's population swelled near 200 folks around 1915, but began dwindling soon after. As folks turned less dependent on the train, farmers found ways to ship their goods closer to home, and townsfolk started doing their business over in Garnett. A mighty windstorm hit in August of 1920, causing heavy damage to the Brethren Church. They built a new one after that, and the same year saw a sizable coal chute put up west of the depot for refueling. Tragedy struck again in 1922 when fire took down the rebuilt Brethren Church, and folks went to work raising it once more. In 1928, a bolt of lightning struck the school, leaving it a smoldering ruin. Folks got to work on a new school, and while it was under construction, Miss Hazel Jones took on the first 4 grades in the Methodist parsonage, while Miss Anna Nichols taught the upper grades 5 through 8 in the Church of the Brethren. The new school was a 2-story brick affair, warmed by steam and lit by electric lights, costing a handsome sum of $18,000 to erect. It opened its doors on November 17, 1929. Miss Jones dedicated 8 years of her life to teaching in Mont Ida. In 1929, disaster struck again when Swarthout's lumberyard and hardware went up in flames. As the town's population continued to wane, Mont Ida's post office shut its doors for good on August 31, 1944. The Methodist Episcopal Church also closed its doors in the 1950s. In 1961, the Amish Church took possession of the former Methodist Episcopal building and turned it into the South District Sunday School House. It now serves as a place for Sunday school, Bible school, and a gathering spot for the church's women to quilt and carry out mission work. Today, not much remains of Mont Ida. The only business left is Mont Ida Meats, where they butcher and process livestock. The Church of the Brethren still holds weekly services, and the Amish run the local school.